Good evening. Welcome to tonight's episode of Order Arcana. I'm here with Ansley, Seth, Tila, and Matt. I am Wes, your Dungeon Master, and tonight we will be carrying on with A Dance in the Dark, which is our campaign that is set in Eberron. Just a few quick shout-outs to some people and companies that are providing some of our assets here for the stream. First off, we've got, once again, Syrinscape is... we're going to be using some of their sounds for sound effects and things of that nature. And we'll also be using tabletop audio for some of the music and just sort of mood-setting music that'll be going on throughout the stream. So, without further ado, let's jump into what happened last time. Oligar, the half-orc fighter and member of House Tharashk, Riven, the half-elf puppeteer, Genesis, the undead human sorcerer, and Gendrix, the elven bard, all boarded the Cloud Maiden, one of the newest magnificent wonders created in the House Cannith foundries of Ondair. And they proceeded to make their way, so they thought, to Sharn. The airship was accosted by a group of pirates. Those pirates made off with the Cloud Maiden and put the passengers and crew of the Cloud Maiden aboard another ship that the pirates had been flying. The Captain Arvir of the Cloud Maiden assaulted some of the pirates and lost control of the airship while she decided to kill pirates instead of fly the airship. And the airship crashed on a forgotten island in the middle of the Thunder Sea off the south coast of Korranberg. When the party members came to, they saw that several of the people that had been on the ship were dead, and that there were a few remaining survivors, and the gnome who had notarized your passage on the Cloud Maiden, she pointed off and said that some rat men had taken the captain away. So the four of you made off into the woods as the only remaining healthy members of the surviving crew, and you went and killed a bunch of rat men, found a little bit of treasure, and managed to find Captain Arvir. And so that is where we'll pick up tonight. Weston, if you will hit the intro for us, and we will jump into tonight's episode of Order Arcana. All right, so welcome back. So you have rescued Captain Arvir. She is somewhat worse for wear, but she's able to walk and make her way around. So what would you like to do?
So are we still in this cave, or we made our way back to the ship?
So yeah, you're just coming out of the cave with Captain Arvir.
Okay. Well, guess we can retrace our footsteps, or we can find a whole new way back. Is it immediately clear which way we came from?
You can give me a wisdom survival check to see if you can see the path that you took to get here.
We follow the trail of bodies.
That's going to be a 2.
A 2.
One.
Yeah, you come out of the cave, and Gendrix kind of looks around and says, "Did we come out of a different cave?"
None of this looks familiar.
I'm not a tracker. I don't know.
I'm a musician.
Did you even pay attention when we came in here?
I was paying attention to your backside.
Can I see if I remember anything?
Yeah.
It's understandable, I guess. Never really seen it.
It's quite a backside.
And that would be survival?
Yep.
That's a whopping 9.
Okay. You managed to kind of lead the group back to the lake or the small body of water where you fought the first group of rat men.
Oh, would you look at that?
One step closer. We didn't really look at these rat men. Is there anything on these rat men?
I mean, they've got like these sort of like notched and ruined kind of crappy weapons, just short swords and bows. They look very haphazard and they're not really nice.
But there's no sort of like currency of
No, they don't.
island,
They
right?
don't. They don't appear to have anything that would remind you of coinage or anything of that nature.
Gotcha. Well, they don't have anything that tells me where we are.
Go figures.
There, you don't happen to know where we are.
She sort of looks around and says, "No, I think I was sort of passed out most of the time. When I woke up in that cave, I wasn't really sure what had happened."
Are there any huts or anything around here? Or is it just... No? Well, let's see if we can make it back. I guess I'm going to look for our tracks on the way back.
Okay, go ahead and give me a survival check.
Never mind, I can't.
Hey, let's try to stay on the table. We're just killing it today. That's a 12.
A 12. Okay. Yeah, you start making your way through the jungle. You feel confident that you're on the right track. Someone roll me a d12.
Alright, I'll do it. That's a 2.
A 2. Okay. You hear lots of bird noises and the sounds of various jungle animals, and it takes you a few hours. You can tell the sun is setting. You can see several of the different moons in the Cyberus belt above the planet, but eventually you sort of stumble back to a shore, and you can see maybe a half mile down, you can see the burning ring of the Sky Splendor, which is the ship that you had been moved onto.
Oh, there it was right there the whole time.
Huh. Well,
Yeah.
probably took a little longer than it should have, but hey, there we are.
We got our pilot back. We're on track. I think things are looking our way.
Perhaps.
Let's just hope the ship isn't too damaged.
Maybe the wizard fixed it.
Maybe.
At least we
Maybe
can
we're
see the
still
fire.
stranded. There's no telling. Until we get there, that is.
Life on an island, how bad could it be?
With more of those rat men, I
Probably
prefer
very
Sean.
fun.
Okay, so yeah, you start to make your way down the sandy beach of this island, and eventually, maybe within 10 or 15 minutes, you make your way back to the remaining survivors. The professor is nowhere in sight. You see the gnome is still sitting in the, on the beach. She's just sort of propped up against a barrel, and you can see she's bandaged up this nasty wound where it looks like a limb or something had pierced her side.
Still making it?
Yeah. I see that you found the captain. That's good news. So, Captain, what do you think? How bad do you think it is? She says, well, let me head out there and see. Was there anyone working? Is there anyone who even knows anything about airships other than me? I only really know how to fly them. I only know how to basic repair.
I can play music while you try to fix it.
All right, was
Did
there...
one of you talk to the professor about fixing it?
Well, I talked to him, but not about fixing the ship. I found out he's an alchemist.
I seem to recall him saying that he was going to attempt to fix it.
Where is he even at?
The lady with that was wearing the fancy clothes and whatever, she sort of looks up from a crate that she's sitting on. She says, oh, the professor, he made his way out to the boat. I think he was going to fix it or tried. I'm not sure. What what he would even be able to do. He said that he knew something of its construction, but
And he hasn't came back.
no, he's been out there the whole time. The ring has fired a few times while he's been out there.
We should probably go check on him.
How far out is the boat?
It's like 100 feet.
Oh, okay, so it's just right off. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my way over there just to go check on him.
No, it's out in the water.
Well, I mean,
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah,
Make my
it's
way over
not. I mean, there's no real waves or anything like that. So yeah, you can easily make your way out to the. You can swim out there. Take you a little bit of time, but.
All right. So I'm gonna climb up the boat now.
Okay. Yeah, there's like a couple of like nets that hang over the side.
Professor?
You see, he pops up, says, "Oh, who's there? Who's there?"
Okay, there you are.
Says, "Oh,
We've been looking for you.
Oh, well, I've after you tromped off to find the captain, I decided to see if I could fix anything. There's a bit of damage, but I think I've managed to fix some of the things. And the captain swam out with you, and he says, "Captain, I've got bad news. The elemental motivators seem to be a bit out of line, but the elementals seem to fire fine when you give them the juice. So I think they'll work. They may just they're going to need replacing probably when we find a dry dock, I would think. I believe the decacubic inhibitors are out, so that means we're not going to be flying. We could sail perhaps, but I don't think we're getting in the air. And several of the electropulse relays have been are burned out. I believe those keep the elementals stable, so that's why he or they get a bit they're a bit hard to control. She just sort of walks around the ship, says, "Well, it's not taking on water, so it would be slow going, but I think I can control the wind enough to give us a favorable current at least. Are you quite sure where we went down?" And you see the professor looks around and he goes, "I've never been much for astronomy. I'm not quite sure. Would you happen to know, young lady?"
Check to see.
Yeah. And since you're back, you're not in the air. You can actually use your farmer background to be able to. I believe it gives you advantage maybe on a. So yeah, this would be a survival check, just to see if you know where.
I don't need
Where
a
you're at.
D12. I need another D20. What Okay, that would be a 13.
13. Okay. Yeah. As the sun is starting to set, you can see where the moons are. The moons that are on this side of the planet at this time of night or early evening, you can kind of tell. You can see a few stars, and you get the idea that you're not nearly as far west as you thought you were. You're not actually near Zendrick. It's kind of weird. Like, you've seen a map of the world before, probably, and you know you've never seen an island just out here, sort of in the middle of the Thunder Sea, which is sort of the sea that's to the south of the main continent of Korranberg. Goes between it goes between Zendrick and Arenal, which is the kingdom of the elves.
So where do we need to head?
After you kind of look up, the professor says, "Well, do you have an idea, young lady?"
It appears we're on an island between Zendrick and Corsair.
Says, "So in the middle of the Thunder Sea. That's strange. Interesting. Well,
I'm presuming we're a little bit to the west.
the captain says, well, if we're between Zendrick and Arenal, then we're farther east. We're actually probably fairly close to Korranberg in Zill. I believe we could, depending, as she sort of looks up and says, kind of based off of what you said, ooh, yeah, she says, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense now. I was expecting the constellations to be somewhat
Did y'all get on the boat too?
different.
I stayed with the gnome.
Well, now knowing this, well, if that's the case, shouldn't we go ahead and get everybody on board? Should we set out as quickly as possible, or what would be the best time? What's the idea? What's the plan?
She says, well, to be fair, I was passed out for a while, so even though I'm a little achy, I actually feel a bit refreshed. I think I could probably get us underway.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna exit the boat, like just run and jump off into the thing and dive and just
Okay.
swim back to the store.
Okay. As you jump off, the professor says, "Wait, okay." And as your head bobs above the water, you hear him say, "I believe there's a there's a safety boat we could." And you hear a push as this small rowboat
I'm just gonna keep
lands in the
swimming.
water.
I
Yeah.
Like I imagine that
And
is
the-
my background.
Yeah,
I
the captain gets in the boat and she rows back to the shore, and there's enough room. And as the rowboat sort of comes up on shore, the gnome looks to you and says, "Well, so what's the story? Do you think are we going to be able to fly?"
Well, it looks like we won't be able to fly, but we do have a plan for right now.
Yeah,
It
and
looks like-
Arvir steps out of the boat. She says, "Yeah, what the young lady said. We're yeah, I can sail it. It's going to be tough going, and I'll probably need to rest every now and then, but yeah, I think we can. I can get us back to Korranberg. We can drop you off, Madame de Civis, and there is a Cannith dry dock there. They should be able to get the boat underway if you guys don't mind staying in Korranberg for a couple of days."
It's fine with me.
Not much choice.
I suppose that will have to do.
Oh, all right.
That isn't the island.
It is.
I'd rather not see any more rat people or that blob.
And
With you.
Sarah Lisa just sort of looks at you and she says, "Oh yes, Korranberg's quite." And she coughs up a little bit of blood. She says, "Excuse me, Korranberg is quite a lovely city. I think you will enjoy it."
Are you sure you're okay?
Well, it will be nice to see one of my friends in the House of Jarasco when we return, but I feel I will be okay until then.
Can I like examine her a little bit?
Yeah, give me a medicine check.
A 14.
14, yeah, that's sufficient. Yeah,
I
you
just start like.
yeah, you kind of walk over and you're looking at the bandage and everything, and you can see like the where she was like pierced through by this like stick of wood or whatever. It's like it wasn't super deep; it's mostly superficial, but you get the idea from sort of the way that she's laboring and breathing that it might have like pierced her lung a little bit. And she's fine, but you know she's not going to run a marathon anytime soon. She probably wasn't going to anyway. She's sort of an older, plumper gnome, but.
She could play so high.
We need to get you to sit down. You're probably punctured a lung.
Oh well.
I should really change those wrappings.
Oh well. Why don't we get underway and then we can take care of that. All this sand, it can't be good.
I kind of like put my arm around her and like help her to the
Yeah,
boat.
I'll help
Okay.
her.
Okay, yeah. So you guys get her comfortably in the boat. The lady who she just sort of looks down her nose at you and she's, well, and she just sort of bundled. Like she doesn't seem to be hurt at all. You can tell that when you came back, she was standing next to what appeared to be a freshly covered over grave where she had buried her husband. And she gets in the boat, and with a couple of trips, you can get everyone rowed back out to the boat.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
She says, well, my husband was a great man. Perhaps there will be some reward for your assistance in making sure that I survived.
Mine near enough to hear reward.
Yeah, this is once you're on the boat.
Okay. I'll just tuck that piece of information away in the back of my mind for a little bit.
Okay. So you see Arvir gets she gets behind the wheel and it's a little shaky, it's rocky, but eventually you can tell the water behind you actually starts to almost crest into waves, and all of you like feel this heavy like torrential wind that is blowing, and it seems like it's not super efficient. It's more designed to move a ship through the air, not to move water, to move this boat. And it's not, the boat it's not cut with a keel like you would see for a seafaring vessel. So it's slow going. But you journey on this way for a little over a day.
Under the now sea splendor.
Yeah. But eventually you come back in and let's see. Yeah, you the next night You all kind of sleep through the day, and you each kind of probably help out a little bit with whatever is needed. There are no like sails or anything to worry about rigging because this isn't a sailing ship. And every now and then, Arvir will just stop and be like, "I'm gonna take a nap," and she goes down and gets in a hammock and just passes out for like an hour. And the boat sort of meanders during that time, but eventually you do. You see on the horizon, you can see land on the horizon. And as evening falls on this second day over the inky waters of Thurum Bay, you begin to see twinkling lights on the horizon as the Sky Splendor limps towards Korranberg. Captain Arvir navigates the ship up a short river, and the ancient city of knowledge rises against the night sky in the distance. The smells of the open sea, clean air, and briny water are interwoven here with sense of commerce and industry. Factories billow multicolored smoke into the air. The crisp scent of magic hangs heavy in the air, and the aromas of baked pies, floral candies, and spiced wine dance through the streets. 13 spires of varying heights rise above the city proper, which is constructed of buildings stacked atop the natural landscape and each other. Streets and alleyways weave between these buildings, leaving visitors a bit disoriented. The Zill probably like it this way. As Captain Arvir brings the Sky Splendor into an empty berth on the western docks, several deckhands throw mooring ropes aboard and begin securing the ship. The gentle rain that has followed you for some miles picks up into a heavier downpour, obscuring your vision and soaking your clothes. As you begin to disembark, Lady Sarah Lisa sort of looks to all of you and says, well, when we disembark, we'll need to head to the customs. Don't worry about that. I can deal with whatever lackey they happen to have on hand there. I'll get you your papers while you're here in town. There is an inn that is used by scribes of my house when they want to be away from others. It's called the Clockwork Beetle. It's a bit expensive, but I will give you a marker of the house so that you can have food and lodging there for the next several days while the ship is repaired before Captain Arvir can take you the rest of your way to Sharn.
Thank you.
And so as you disembark from the Sky Splendor, you make your way up a small set of stone stairs on the edge of the dock to a small stone building. And as you walk in, there's a plump gnome. He has these bushy gray eyebrows and big bushy sideburns. He sits behind an ornate desk that's covered in paperwork and ledgers and books and newspapers. And as you walk in, he says, "Well, a bit of a late hour to be coming in."
You don't even know.
And he sort of looks. He says, "My name is Marticus Marrowwaite, and what can I do for you?" And as you're probably about to say something, Gendrix, Sarah Lisa just pushes past you, which is odd because she's about half your height. She just pushes by your leg, and she goes,
my lady.
She just says, "Oh, quit your bullshit, Marticus." She's like, "Get these people their papers. We've been a bit shipwrecked. I need to get to a physician. I'm a bit hurt, and honestly, I don't want to spend a lot of time going through customs. Do what you need to do. I'll stamp everything off and get these people on their way." And he just sort of looks at her and goes, "Oh, right away, madam, right away. I'll be right on that." And he just kind of shuffles through several papers, and he pulls out 4 similar-looking forms, and he hands them to each of you, and he goes, "If you would just fill out the top for me there." And it's simple stuff like your name and like any items that you have to declare and things like that.
Okay.
What was the name of the tavern?
Oh, it's called the Clockwork Beetle. And she'll kind of give you directions to head deeper into the city. As you're looking from the dock area of the city sort of rises up this very, not steep, but moderately steep incline. And the buildings, some of them are built right into the side, and then other buildings are stacked on top of it. And you see there are several bridges that lead through the air that go to other buildings. There's several bridges that go all the way across this river to the other side of the river to basically be like an eastern and a western side of the city. But everything it's clean. There is no like smell of trash or refuse or anything like that. The city itself is just immaculately clean. You don't see a whole lot of people on the docks at this hour, but the people that you do go about their business. They, a couple of people come in while you're filling out your paperwork and give different bills of lading and things of that nature to Marticus. But yeah, That's kind of what you see. It's a very large city, but once again, it's very cramped and very tight, and especially for all of you, it's a little small. Makes sense. It's built for gnomes.
Yeah.
After I finish filling out my paper, I'm gonna go about cleaning myself up and making my clothes look good with prestidigitation.
Okay.
Making sure I don't have any sand on me anywhere. Making
Sure,
sure
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
dry and everything.
Okay.
Gotta look good. I'm in
Yeah.
the city.
And so as you all finish up your paperwork, you see she pulls out her seal and pulls out the wax and stamps all of it and folds it and gives them to Martigus, and he sort of turns around to this apparatus that he has sitting on a desk behind, and he takes each of your papers and puts them in, and you see just this flash of light really quick, and then you hear just these sort of like grinding and whirring noises, and an exact replica of your papers is presented, and he files those away, and he hands you the originals with the seals back.
Have I seen anything like that before?
You probably haven't, no.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
I'll tuck that away.
I like the way she says Beetle.
But she looks at you, she says, okay, She sort of looks around, she goes, I know you the best because I've signed papers for you the most. And so she reaches in and she pulls out this small, it looks like a wax seal that's like would have been on a letter, but it's like a greenish colored wax. And she goes, give this to the innkeep at the Clockwork Beetle, and he will take care of you.
Okay.
Genesis, are you
course.
okay?
I just like the way she says it. So I'm very fascinated by the tiniest things.
She just sort of cocks her head at you and goes, is that a dig on my height, young woman?
Oh, of course not. I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything by
It's
it.
probably for the best. Thank you.
She says, very well, very well. If you have need of me, you can certainly look me up.
Which physician will you be staying at?
Oh, she says, I'll go to the main Jorasco hospital here in town. I have a friend there who I do a little bit of cursory paperwork for every now and again.
What's her name again?
Sarah Lisa de Civis.
Butchered the spelling.
Beetle.
By this point, would you consider it a long rest?
Yeah, you would have gotten a long rest
Okay.
the night before. Yeah, when
Okay,
you're on the
so my
boat for sure.
puppet
Yeah,
is
yeah,
okay. Sir
Mhm.
and
Angela
Williams.
to talk to.
yeah. Definitely got a long rest.
Okay.
Faux show.
Oh, show.
Okay.
And we're doing the hit points like we do in the other game, right?
No, we'll do regular old hit points. Keep life easy.
Life is easy.
Mostly because it's just a drain on time and everything else to try and keep up with that real gritty.
That's fine, because I didn't get hit in my puppet.
There are other ways to kill you.
It's fair.
That's what I heard.
Okay, so as you begin making your way.
Do we pass by like a few people as we're walking?
Yeah, so as you leave the dock area and you come more into the city proper, you get into this very tight, the streets are very narrow, everything is very cramped, but you can see there are businesses that are open. It's not late night, it's probably just a little past dusk, but you see there's like pie shops and pastry shops, there's restaurants that are open, there's several playhouses, there's some plays that are being performed and music being performed like right on the street by like buskers. But once again, everything is ordered and neat. Like it's not that they walk in single file lines, but it's not just a clump of people. You're able to easily move through the crowd because everyone sort of stays in line and sort of does what they're supposed to.
I dig it. The charm is on.
So does Genesis have like her face covered, or like what does her face look like?
Yeah,
Is any of it like showing?
So I have goggles that are like this, but they actually are covering my eyes, and I have like a wrapped scarf around my mouth, and then there's actually like this hat. So you don't really like see any of her skin until she goes to like do something, and then you see these little bony hands.
Last week I
Like
was pictured
legit bony hands, like
Like,
bones, like
literally,
skeleton
like
bones.
barely, like it's like skin super like thin, like wrapped around like a skeleton.
Like
So
an old ass lady.
Yeah, she's really skinny. So
Okay, I was just
and
wondering.
it's this like greenish yellow skin.
Well then, I'm gonna turn to Genesis and. So, what is with your attire? Do you not like the air here? Can you not breathe well?
Well, it's more for your sake than mine. I think. I could show you, but I don't think you'd like it very much.
What do you mean?
Well, I had sort of an accident, you could say, and it's left me quite disfigured. This is for.
Disfigured how?
Well,
You don't just ask people how ugly they are. That's rude.
You let them show you how ugly they are.
I kind of like lean in, like uncomfortably close. Have you ever seen a corpse?
Huh? You've got to repeat that again.
A corpse?
But you're alive.
Physically, yes, but no, it's. And I sort of like look around and I like just to you like pull the scarf down and like you see like all of this that's basically like dead looking.
Yeah, like imagine her cheeks are like completely sunken in. Like you can see the cheekbones. The skin is dry and tight. The lips are pulled back from the teeth, and the skin is sort of yellowed.
I'm not scared as more as I'm interested. Like, I'm curious about it. So, you're alive,
Well,
but you're
I
dead.
don't really know what I am. You see, and I pull this like book out of my jacket. It requires quite a bit of research, but I'm working on it. Hopefully, I'll be able to tell what I am pretty soon.
Meanwhile, Gendrix is just thinking to himself about all the songs that he can write about this ragtag group that he's found himself with.
And I kind of like look around just to see if anybody else is paying attention.
No, I'm just walking.
Yeah, nobody in the street seems to be paying you anyway.
Does my character feel like hungry at all? 'Cause everyone
Interesting you
else-
should say that. Yeah, you feel a bit peckish.
So I have to. Do I see someone like kind of not paying attention?
I mean, there's like the streets are lightly busy.
But is it like your stomach growl? Like, I just have to know
I don't
this
know.
for like.
Nope.
It just does it. Okay, so she.
Well, you just feel weak.
In the middle of us talking, I sort of like look across and then I'm like at this random passerby. My eyes just get really wide. Well, you can't see them because they're over like goggles are on. But
Well, I mean, I imagine you are like taken back a little bit because I mean, like you really looked. I'm gonna kind of like, what are you doing?
You kind of, as she looks at this person, you sort of follow her gaze, and you see this person kind of, and they kind of like cough a little bit and like coughing, and you can see like they pull out a handkerchief and like wipe a little bit of blood away from their mouth, and you can see like their skin has started to sort of wither a little bit, and they just sort of look around like, and you see him, he just like scampers off into an alleyway.
What was that?
what?
Is there a plague here in Korranberg? Should we be concerned?
I don't know. There's maybe something in the air.
What I can I see if I'm suspicious of her, or if I can not necessarily catch on, but that
Yeah,
she
you can
did it.
you can give me an Arcana check.
The air's pretty clean here. I don't think there'd be any plagues.
It's quite lovely. I love the smell of pies.
10.
A 10. Yeah, you're no idea.
Well, I mean, would I've
What
got
just
the
happened?
association with her and it, or
I mean, you can draw whatever conclusions
Okay.
you would like to, but your character does not know exactly what just happened.
Just for like, how many or how often do I feel like I need to do that? Was like one person enough to sustain for like a while?
You
or-
feel like, from a mechanical standpoint, that in a given 24-hour period, you need to draw an equal number of health points from other people as what your maximum health points are.
Okay.
Huh.
So do I take 1 point from each person, or
That's up
do
to
I know?
you.
Okay.
you want to go slurp up some other people?
I was
Let me
like,
see if I can
how-
figure it
At
out.
what point do they die? Who wants to kill anyone? Just draw attention.
Zero.
When they hit 0.
So peasants probably have like a 0.3. I don't
Maybe
know.
peasants maybe have 4 or 5 hit points.
Okay.
So when you get to 3, easy.
Down,
Yep. So as you make your way through the through the streets, you're kind of following the directions. And you're asking people as you kind of go, like, which way is the Clockwork Beetle? Because once again, everything's very tight. It's very maze-like almost. But eventually, someone sort of directs you and says, "Oh, it's just a few more blocks over that way. If you head up the that ramp that heads that way to the east, you'll see it. Eventually, just keep heading down that road at the top of the ramp after you make a left."
It was the Clockwork what now?
Well, it's the Clockwork Beetle.
No, it just doesn't have the same ring.
Thank you.
Does very well, and he kind of goes back to his little cart that he was at. He's like, "All right, we've got sausages here, sausages," and
I will go back and do the sausage.
I says, "Oh, yeah, this is just plain sausage. That'll be 3 copper."
There's options?
He says, "Well, you could get it with a hunk of bread. You could get it with some liquid cheese sauce. You could get it with mustard."
At the ballpark.
It's because he's wearing the
Liquid
cap.
cheese sauce.
He says, "Oh yeah, it's made with a beer that my cousin brews, and it's quite tasty."
Yo, I want a beer cheese sausage now.
Right. I'll take one
No sauce.
with mustard,
With mustard?
and one with liquid cheese.
All right, and you see he pulls out just this small little earthenware container, and you see him wave his hand, and the cheese coater goes into the cup. He sort of mage hands it in, and he takes out 2 wooden that look like little skewers, and he stabs 2 sausages out, and he hands them to you, and he hands you the 2 little cups, one with this like stone ground brown mustard, and one with this beer cheese in it.
How much? 6 copper? 3?
He says, "Well, with the cheese, go ahead, and it'll be 7 copper total."
7 copper total. Let's not add. Let's remove, shall we? I'm making money off this deal.
"I'll pay you to take the sausages, please."
They killed my brother.
Damn it.
Please don't get me
Was
started.
it like a sausage cart or was it the pig that killed his brother? Like, how does that work?
It was just the sausage.
He was killed by the drink. Oh,
Not the
sorry.
cart, not the
He was
pig.
run over by a Guinness truck.
Okay.
Like-
Just,
Yeah, I just
"Oh."
walk off with just like, cup and then the sausage.
Okay. Yep. So you guys, you make your way
Double piece in the
up the ramped bridge up onto sort of a second tier of the city here. And as you do, everyone go ahead and give me a perception check.
That one.
Yummy.
Perception?
Mm-hmm.
10.
12 or
10.
10. Okay.
Nice.
None of you see anything strange. Although the one thing that you do notice is that as you kind of come up this bridge, the crowd has thinned. There's no commerce up here. Once again, it's a pretty heavy downpour. The people that you saw had like little umbrellas, and a few of them were like doing like a prestidigitation to sort of put up a little rain shield over their head.
So we're just walking through there just without any umbrella and
Yeah,
it's
probably. I mean,
raining.
yeah, I mean it you're used to the rain, like,
Yeah,
especially you. I mean,
I'm just picturing myself walking through there. My hair is just
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So,
Damn.
but basically
Yeah, I'm just worried about
you
the sausage.
basically you all sort of come up right here
sausage.
I'm
Right
worried about
here.
that cheese sauce.
on the end that's facing me. Yep,
On the
right
top?
there. Mm-hmm.
So we need minis.
Yep. So go ahead and place yourself how you would be walking.
Backflip.
Gendrix is again sort of behind everyone else.
Okay.
I will
Imagine
be.
all of ours in the front,
Yep.
and these 2 are
I'll be up
taking
front.
up the middle.
probably I don't know where my puppet is, but
It's probably packed up
it's in
right
my
now.
butt.
Yeah, I did not see your puppet Benny, so just use like a D8 for him for now,
Okay.
See,
or just a dice
he is
engine.
out and about. The puppet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they told you that you needed to go left.
Okay. I will
Rolling up with my
signify
homies.
that Oliver is the front. Of the
Okay.
party,
So
we're all
as you
right
as you
behind.
come up onto this bridge, you can see at the far side of the bridge there's a mass laying on the ground. It looks like it might be a body.
I'm gonna send my puppet up there.
Okay.
How far from us?
It's where the building meets the bridge.
Okay.
Right there.
Mhm.
It's just laying there. No one's around it or anything.
Nope.
Alright, I believe that's about as far as you can get.
I will run up
That's
to
about like 30
the.
feet.
Oh no, that's
The
like
body.
15.
It's like 15.
Yeah.
I will run up to the body.
Okay. You run up to the body.
Well, I'm.
I think he made that noise as he ran too, by the way.
Yeah.
You moving up?
Not all the way. I'll probably, about right there.
Okay.
I'm back here we go.
I sort of just
All
like,
right. Yeah. So you, the puppet, both Sir Gilliam and Oligar, both make their way, and you see when you get there, it appears to be a human in his middle-aged year, maybe in his late 30s, early 40s, close-cropped beard, short hair. He has what appear to be wizard's robes on, and he has a satchel that's like, across, like man-purse style. But he's at an odd angle, and you can see that there's several cuts and a jagged hole, like in his neck.
I'm gonna turn to. I guess.
He looked dead.
Both of
Yeah, you lean down, and there's no pulse.
It looks like he's been wounded in his neck area. There's a hole.
let me see. And I'll like walk over there. Can I like examine him
You
and
can
see
see
if
it, but he did.
So as you start to walk over, put this guy up on the back side of the bridge. No, other side.
Over here?
Uh-huh.
Great.
You start to walk over, and none of you notice because you rolled really poorly. But this Warforged jumped down over the side of the bridge to hide itself, and it's jumped back up on the other side, and it's going to run at you. And Gendrix, you're in the back, so he'll take a swing at you.
Okay. Do I hear him coming? I mean, he's made of metal, right?
He is made of metal, but you don't hear him in time to avoid being surprised.
Okay. I mean, I figured as much. But
Yeah. let me
at least he'll turn around and be like, oh!
let me pull him up here real quick. This is Cutter.
I'll make that noise and surprise.
Okay. You turn around just in time to see this great axe swing through the air at your face.
Okay, that's a good thing.
And that's going to be a 17 to hit.
That hits.
Okay.
Down goes Jen.
Okay. It's going to be 5 points of slashing damage
Okay.
as this great axe cuts across you.
I can deal with that.
Okay. And so that will be initiative.
Alright. It's a better initiative rolls tonight.
Killing it today.
Alright, well,
I need to run to go grab a spell sheet. 'Cause apparently, I only grabbed
Like,
it.
Okay.
hit it, but couldn't
I
see
went
it.
all the way around the table.
To tour the world.
Like I backed up and it hit it and like rolled it back.
No.
Alright, I think that trip was good for that die because I got 22.
Ooh, I got a 2.
Yeah, which to me it makes sense that I would have a very high right now because I just got smacked in the face with a great axe.
Yeah, so you definitely know he's there.
I definitely am aware.
Okay,
that there's a
Gendrix.
battle.
You said 22?
22, yes.
Currently, I
Genesis.
have my finger
I got
in
a
the
mighty
neck hole of
6.
this guy.
Oligar.
3.
3?
Yeah.
Nice.
14.
14. Okay. So yeah, after you get smashed in the face by this axe, Gendrix, you are up.
Okay, so I have a quick question about the mechanics in the Warforged.
Mm-hmm.
Being that they are common in this world,
Mm-hmm.
would I know some basic information about them? Like, are they considered constructs as far as like?
No, they are constructs, but they are somehow sentient. So you feel that they operate like humanoids in most respects when it comes to like the mind.
Okay, excellent news. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do then is I am going to try to think of a funny joke real fast. Actually, I'm just going to say, hey, your axe smells like knoll shit, and try to cast hideous laughter. Creature of my choice that I can see within range perceives everything as hilariously funny and falls into fits of laughter.
All right, what is the save DC for that?
That is going to be
You said it's wisdom?
14. Yeah.
14 with a +0, that is an 11. That is a fail.
So yeah.
The
he's-
Warforged falls to the ground laughing.
Yeah, he's prone and he's laughing his ass off.
Okay.
That I just talked some shit, and I'm gonna get away from him now.
Okay.
I'll get back.
I'm confused.
Okay. All right. That will bring up Riven.
Okay, so I'm gonna move myself back
Okay.
and then move my puppet in front of me.
Okay.
So you're gonna get in range with the puppet.
Yeah.
And get back here about where
Yeah.
Hendrix is. Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm going to do the slam attack. Would I get advantage since he's
Yeah, he's prone. You get advantage.
Does a 17 hit?
A 17 does hit, I believe. Yes.
I believe scared me a little bit.
I couldn't remember. How was it on the sheet?
That's going to be 10.
10 points of damage.
Get a little buddy.
Okay.
I think
Now he gets to save if he gets attacked? Or he just automatically comes out of it?
I'm looking at that right now. The end of each of its turns, and each time it takes damage, it can make another Wisdom saving throw against my DC. 14.
That is a 17. Okay. So the attack from Sir Gilliam makes the joke less funny, and that will bring up Cutter's turn. He will stand up, and he will try and do a shove attack against Sir Gilliam.
The elf turned into a little wooden guy.
That would be funny.
All right. I need you to make a strength athletics or an acrobatics, dexterity acrobatics check for Sir Gilliam.
That's a nat 20.
Nat
but
20. What's your total?
18.
Well, you can do acrobatics, which he has a +2, I believe.
Let me double check since we've changed it.
I think his dexterity is like 14, right? Just like a base common puppet.
Yes.
Okay, so that would give you a total of 22.
Yeah.
I have a total of 23.
Oh man. It
You
was
see,
close though.
you see the Warforged just grabs Sir Gilliam and bodily throws him over the edge. Sir Gilliam falls about 20 feet to the ground below. He takes 10 points of bludgeoning damage as he hits the ground below.
Asshole.
And Cutter will run at the party and engage Gendrix, or Riven and Genesis.
Do you have enough movement to get her?
Yep. All right. That will be the end of his turn, though. That'll bring up Genesis.
Like as he's running at me, I'm trying to like very quickly drink my potions, and I look at him and I go fireball, and like right in his face.
Okay, so go ahead and make an attack roll at disadvantage.
Disadvantage. So 11.
11. That will miss. As he runs at you, just howling with this axe. There's like this, you can hear as he has his mouth open. He's not talking, but just the wind passing through his open mouth makes this whistling noise. And you just kind of, ah! And the firebolt just goes wide a little bit as he gets up in your space.
Do I have movement to like do it and run, or does that create an attack of opportunity?
He would get an attack of opportunity if you left his melee range.
I'm gonna.
You just gonna stay? Okay. That will bring up Oligar.
Alright, well. I guess during the course of this, I will pull my finger out of the dead guy's throat, because that's apparently what I've been doing the whole time.
Okay.
And I'll turn around. The hell? And I can move through people, right?
Yeah, you
My
can
own
move through your
people,
friends, yeah.
and go around behind him.
Sure.
Does that grant me advantageous?
It's will against this creature, yes.
Oh. Alright.
How far down is that, by the way?
About 20 feet.
About 20 feet?
Alright, so let's see if we can smack him. I will do the smacks.
Go for it.
That is a 20.
Yes.
Alright, so that is the first attack. So we
Okay.
need to do this, make sure I do my attacks right this time. So because it's the first attack on the first turn, I do get the extra damage this time. I can reroll the 2. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus... There we go. Plus 4, so 14.
14 points. Nice. He will use his reaction to do a berserk strike. He took more than 10 points of damage in a single turn, so he will attack you with his axe.
Okay.
For a total of 16.
That hits.
That is going to be a total of 6 slashing damage as this great axe cuts across your armor.
Alright, hit him again.
Why is it that you have 2 attacks?
Because
Is it the first
on
round?
the first round of the first turn.
Gotcha. You get a second attack.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And that's what I did wrong last time.
Okay.
This is so I remember incorrectly this time.
That is good.
But that is a crit.
Nice.
Does he have any sort of anti-crit?
Nope.
Yay! And remind me, how does 2 dice? With
So you get a max die, and then you roll the other die.
So it's just 1 max die because it's 2d6 on a. On
So
the
yeah,
sword.
so if it's 2d6, you would get 2d6 maxed, and then
Okay.
you're
roll
doubling
the
that.
other one.
Yep.
All right.
So you just roll it normal. Yep.
All right. So I can reroll the 2. All right. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then plus the max.
So 12.
25.
So 25 points of damage. Nice.
Hey.
Is this thing still alive? Did
It
Oliver
is.
kill it?
It is still alive, and you see as that attack just smashed across, you see your sword just rips into the metal and leather that sort of holds his body together, and you just see in his eyes, which were just almost these just inert black orbs, they and almost go like they're on fire. They just light up brightly, and he howls in your face.
Oh shit. Let's see. Seeing that, I don't know if I want to continue with this shenanigans. Fudge knockers and cheese. Do I want to do it?
Not regular fudge knockers. Just the cheese.
Just
Yeah.
fudge knockers and cheese, man.
Those are the best flavored ones.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the ranch flavored fudge knockers are pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and action surge that and just hit him for one more time.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Because I'm afraid of what just happened.
Sure.
So yeah, let's do it. Oh, so close. Too bad I don't crit on a 19 yet. So that's 19 on the die.
Yeah, that definitely hits.
Alright.
Get an extra attack for me.
Right. Alright. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 more. Add 2.
Hopefully hits you and not me.
Okay.
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure I
he's
pissed him off
looking-
enough, so.
He is looking super rough. Yeah, you rear back one more time. You're just smashing this thing, and you could see like there's like sparks and wires, and like, he's looking really, really
I'm
bad.
just like, ah.
Yeah. Gendrix.
I'm going to maneuver myself around here to this little spot
Okay.
and take a shot with the old pistol.
All right, go for it.
That's going to be a 21 to hit.
That hits.
21.
21. And 5 points of damage.
I like that die.
All right.
Bayberry.
Yeah, you run across and you level the pistol, and just as a reminder, if you roll a 1 or a 2, it does misfire.
On my damage or?
No, if you roll a 1 or 2 on your to hit roll, like
Oh, okay,
natural 1 or
okay.
2,
Oh,
then your pistol
Alright.
misfires. But it wouldn't have right there.
one more quick question.
Mhm.
Pistol, if I'm reloading it, is that an action?
So I believe we said you've got a magazine with 4 or 6 shots.
6.
Yeah, so it's an action to reload
Okay.
once that magazine runs
I'm
out.
keeping up with
Yep.
that.
Okay. Anything else? He is still up, but looking very hurt.
I will whistle a little tune and give. I'm gonna give Genesis a little.
Oh, okay.
inspiration.
All right, Riven, you are up.
Take it.
Is there anywhere that my puppet can climb back up?
It would have to get on the bridge and run back up. There's like a bridge that comes off of this end that's sort of rounded and goes down.
How far is that from here?
It's probably going to be maybe 150 feet.
That's at least 3 turns. Take
That's
all,
gonna be a
all
minute.
movement. You
Crap.
got some spells too, right?
Yeah, but most of them are.
Spell him.
We're gonna poison spray.
Spell his disaster.
Go for it.
So
Is that a save on my part?
Yeah, it's a con
Yes.
save.
Con save? Okay. An 18 on the die, or 18 total, sorry.
You pass.
Okay. Yeah, you do the poison spray, and he just sort of, and almost like he doesn't really care. Anything else?
No.
Okay. He will use his threshing strike. he will make a melee attack against all characters within 10 feet of him.
Nasty.
So against Genesis, 25.
Yeah.
Against Riven, 12.
No.
No. And against Oligar,
That's what you get for defying
20.
my poison
30.
spray.
Dirty 20.
Yep. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right. And so you both, the two of you that got hit, will take, roll to 1. So 5 points of slashing damage as he just lashes out at all of you with his axe. And he recharged it. Cool. All right. That will bring up, after he has hit both of you with his axe, I'll bring up Genesis.
Inspiration's a D8.
I believe he's D6 right now.
Yeah.
Do you roll it? Or
No, you can roll it and add it to your ability check or attack roll.
Okay. So I drink both of my drinks and I look at him and I'm like, firebolt again.
Okay. Disadvantage.
Can I add the inspiration to the bad roll, or do I have to?
You
say which
can,
roll?
yeah.
Okay.
Like once you know what your D20 total is, you can add your.
So 8 plus that makes it a 10, 15 total.
15 will hit.
Sweet.
My
After hearing the sweet strum of the lute from Gendrix, you manage to assail this creature with fire.
Is 4 damage.
All right. You see he falls to a knee. And he stands back up. Okay. Anything else?
Negative.
Oligar. His cool ability almost didn't work.
The save your ass ability.
Yeah, barbarian stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what you doing? Just barbarian stuff.
I'm going to
Kill him.
do some dumb shit.
Okay.
It's the best kind.
Dumb shit's always the best kind.
Dumb shit with cheese.
Yeah.
Tiny cheese.
No, you don't have dumb shit with cheese. You have dumb
I'm
shit
sorry.
with chocolate sauce.
I didn't know.
Gotta get it right. So, seeing all of my newfound companions surrounding him, and he's just threshing the ever-loving shit out of him. I'm gonna take a cue from his playbook, and I'm gonna grab him by the shoulders, and I'm gonna try to fling him off the
Okay.
old ledgy boy.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So he will make a strength.
So this is a strength.
Yeah, you would do athletics.
All right.
You go.
Okay.
That's just a 12 because I rolled that shithole.
Matt.
Hey.
That's a 24 for me.
He just.
Yeah, you grab and try and throw him, and he just knocks your arms off.
Nice.
Anything else?
Nah.
All right.
That's it.
That will bring up Gendrix again.
Okay.
Shoot him in the face.
So yeah, I'm gonna take another shot.
Okay.
Hey, ugly. I don't think that's gonna hit. That's gonna be an 11.
11 will miss. You shoot, and he just, as he's breaking away from Oligar, the pistol shot just misses, trying to catch this moving target.
Okay.
Anything else?
I'm gonna keep whistling and give Genesis some more inspiration.
All right. Riven, you're up.
Do it.
Well, I don't really have anything to do, to be fair.
I assume you're having Sir Gilliam run with his bonus action, or with your bonus action, or
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, yeah. So I don't know how far he would have gotten from.
He's still probably about 90 feet away. He can only go 30 a turn.
All right, so would he have gone 30 already for this turn?
He went 30 last turn and 30 this turn. Yeah,
So. If,
he's about 90 feet away now.
poison spray.
All right. Con save.
Yeah.
24. Sorry. That will bring him up, and he will do, since he recharged, he will do the same thing against Oligar. 24.
Yeah.
Against Genesis. 17. And against Riven. 21.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone takes 10 points of slashing damage
Ouch.
Ow.
as he flails about with his axe again. He did not recharge. Okay. That is his turn. That will bring up Genesis.
Alright. He's in my face, so I freak out a little bit, and I just grab two random things, and I drink both of them, and I'm like, ah! And I cast Chaos Bolt.
Okay.
But I'm going to call on Tides of Chaos.
Okay.
So I get advantage, right?
Right, but you have disadvantage, so it's just gonna be straight roll.
Okay.
So it's just vantage.
It's
You
just
have
advantage.
you have advantage.
But I do have inspiration, right?
You do have bardic inspiration. That is correct.
You can possibly use.
19 plus. Can you use inspiration?
Didn't
for
even
your-
use.
Yeah.
You,
Well,
you can use it at when you want for 10 minutes.
yeah. You don't have
so
to use
I
it.
can use it for damage.
You can't use it for
Not
damage.
Okay.
Just a d20 roll. But like you know, like you guys have hit him enough. His armor class is 13,
Well, then I.
so you don't have to use it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
I got 19 plus 5. So
Yeah. So yeah, you definitely hit.
All
So
right.
roll your damage.
Hope I roll better than last time. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage.
Okay.
And
And
I'm
what is
going
it?
to use- Which one do I want? Cold.
Okay. The chaos energy swirls around you and lances out of your hands, and it just wraps around this creature, and you see his body starts to freeze, and he falls to a knee, and he tries, and he just falls over dead. As he falls over dead,
He explodes. 30 points of damage.
You don't get near the Assaultron.
I know, right?
Something scary.
you see this small. Let me actually read you what I wrote because it sounds cool. I think maybe. Or I didn't write anything. Never
a
mind.
tiny man inside of him.
Nope. No, a small. Yeah, well, I thought I'd written something neat. I thought
It's a
about it.
tiny
But you see
woman.
this small orb sort of pops out of his chest, and these little wings come out of it. Almost, you can imagine like a darker golden snitch, and it and just flitters away.
Can I try to catch it?
You can give me a dexterity check.
I'll never catch this thing.
While she's doing that, I'm gonna try to catch it too. Is it just
No,
a,
I got like a 7, so I just go.
Is
Yeah.
it just a dex check?
It is a dexterity check. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't try to catch it. I would try to swing at it.
14?
14. Well, you reach out, but it's already flittered away. It's really fast. You can swing at it. You can shoot at it if you want.
Yeah, I'd
Oh,
swing
that's
at it.
cocked.
And if it's cocked, re-roll it.
Well, it's cocked right where I don't want it to be. Oh god, it was a 20.
Okay.
Stop.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
got a 12.
17.
17 misses.
Yeah, I figured.
Yep, it flitters off into the night, into the rain. But the creature appears, the Warforged appears to be dead.
Does it have like any sigil or like any kind of like marking on it?
It does have a rune inscribed on its forehead
Okay.
that you probably don't recognize.
Well, what does it look like?
Um, So it looks like do you know what the British pound sign looks like?
Yeah.
It looks sort of like that, except the part that would curve over to make it look like an E curves the other way.
Okay.
I know about Warforged, right?
I mean, you know what they are.
Like with her situation.
You didn't really work on them though.
Okay.
Like it wasn't, you know.
More their
Yeah.
research than mine. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so the Warforged is dead.
I'm gonna turn to all of y'all.
Eventually, Sir Gilliam.
Sir Gilliam is back. The
Well,
Gilliam's
nice
gone.
of you to join us, Sir Gilliam.
Does he understand you?
Sometimes.
You did a good job. Will you say that to him?
He just looks at, nods his head, holds up his sword.
Hey, look, easy with that thing.
What they don't realize is I'm back there, you know.
Right.
I'd say I'm probably pretty knowledgeable about symbols and things, being 120 or so years old.
Sure, yeah, you can give me a history check.
I'm gonna check this
Maybe.
guy out. I mean, you know, I'm not a great historian, but just by virtue of being a bard, I get to add my thing to everything. So that'll be a 12.
12.
Half of it anyway.
You're not sure what exactly the symbol is, but you get the sense that it is a nationality marking. Like the Warforged were different nations purchased like groups of Warforged, but you're not you're just like I can't remember what country it is.
I want to go over to him and I take out that little book that I like constantly write in, and I'll like draw the symbol in there.
Okay.
And then can I like examine the little hole in his chest?
Yeah. It's just basically just a little cavity that looks like this little ball was just sitting in there.
Okay. So I'm gonna write all that down and then write like what the thing was that flew away as much as I can remember.
Okay.
What did the thing that flew away look like?
Very much like a snitch from Harry Potter.
So we didn't see any like noticeable features on it?
No, in fact, when it rose up out of the chest, you all were kind of like, "What the heck?" And then the little wings, and it just flitted off
Did
like
we see what
super fast.
direction it went off to?
It went north.
Okay.
Can I pick up his axe?
Yeah, sure.
Just gonna drag it behind me,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
go back to sticking my finger. In
It looks like it's been well tended to. Nothing real special about it, but it's a great axe.
I forgot that I picked up the Ratman's weird thing.
Oh yeah, the halberd.
Yeah.
Yep. So you're walking around with a halberd on your back and a great sword, and
Is this like collecting ears for you, or
Something like that.
You're going to
you
ruin
could
it.
collect something smaller?
That's no fun.
How are you carrying all of this?
he has like tons of frogs on his back.
Yeah.
Not like the animal.
I'm confusion.
I'm a lot bigger than you are.
Well, yes.
Yeah, you can see like now that like he's drenched in water, like you could see like he's jacked.
Listening
Like
muscles.
like there's very little fat on this
Like as
fella.
soon as I turn around and I flex my butt muscles, it's like
Yeah. Yep.
and the water just like splashes off of it instantly.
It looks like he could crack a walnut with his ass cheeks.
It's like two rocks kissing gently over a well.
All right, so there's a dead guy.
And apparently Ollie has his finger jammed in too.
I'm gonna
I
look for
just
any
assumed
like
that's what I was
any
doing at
source
that
of
point.
identification on them. Would they have like IDs or something?
On
of
the
that
man?
sort? Yeah.
Yeah, you can look over his stuff
Okay.
if
yeah.
you want to. Sure.
I'm gonna like look at his wounds and see if like I think it was the axe.
Huh?
I'm gonna look at his wounds and see if I think he was.
Yeah, you sort of look at the axe as Oligar's dragging it, and you're like, "Yep, that's definitely like the hole in his neck is like the spike that is like the counterweight against the blade. Like you could see like there's a cut across his face, but then that spike was driven into his throat.
Well, mystery solved.
Well,
Yeah, so
Part of
when you kind of look over his body, you open up the satchel, and you can see that in the satchel, he has. There are. What does he have? I wrote it down somewhere. So there's a small coin purse that has 10 silver and 2 gold in it. There is a stack or a sheaf of parchment papers that are probably getting pretty wet at this point, and there's a couple of quills and a bottle of ink. And then there's also a small journal measuring about 3 inches by 6 inches and 1 inch thick. It has a cover of dark brown leather with strands of mithril thread woven into a strange pattern. It bears no title, just the mithril thread icon on the front cover. Inside, every page is blank, but the sheets have strange feel. They don't seem to be paper or leather, something not readily identifiable.
I would like the journal.
I don't see any use for it, so sure.
Okay. You both that look at the journal can make a intelligence history check.
the streets are empty at this point, right? Like this particular
Yeah, there's
area.
nobody up here. It's kind of weird actually from what you've seen in the city thus far.
I'm gonna walk over back to
A 7.
7?
the body, and I'm gonna pick it up if I can.
Am I looking around?
Yeah, I mean for
The-
being
the
Or
Warforged.
intelligence?
oh the Warforged. Yeah, he's pretty heavy.
Yeah,
It's in
like I'm gonna do
Yeah,
my best to
you
pick
can
him
pick
up,
him up. Yeah.
Field right there.
and I'm just gonna take him over to
Oh,
the other
there it
person's
is.
body and just lay him next
I
to
know,
him.
I'm not
Okay.
trying to sound like an asshole when I say this, but just think it's in alphabetical order.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I've been confused like that.
17.
17. Okay, you recognize the symbol on the cover of this book. It's an ancient or primitive version of the House Cannith seal, showing a stylized anvil and hammer inside of a circle.
Do you know what the symbol is, though?
Yeah, it's House Cannon's seal.
You saw when you were going through his things also, I forgot to tell you, he has a small ID card
Okay.
that identifies him as Professor Hugo de Rook. He is a scholar from Moorgrave University, which is in Sharn, and he specializes in pre-Galifar studies and magic. And you can see as you're like looking through the journal, there is a regular sheaf or piece of parchment that's folded over a couple of times and stuffed in the front cover.
No, I'm gonna take that out.
Okay.
From the journal.
Yeah.
Okay. You open it up and you know it's here in the rain, but it appears that maybe it was done well. You're trying to keep it covered, but
I kind of take my hat off to like help you shield it.
okay. And it is just a quick letter that says meet me, and it has today's date at 10 bells in the Broken Anvil tap room, and it's signed Lady Eladrin de Voth.
How many bells are we at right now?
As you say that, a gnome just sort of walks up next to you and goes, "Oh, it's about 9 bells, ma'am. What do we have going on here?"
Nothing.
Nothing.
We
I.
found him.
And he just
Can
sort
you
of
send a message.
he sort of toddles by you and looks at all of you and goes, "I see 4 living people, somewhat bloodied, and 2 dead people."
What kind of attire is he wearing?
He's wearing just like a very nice suit. He has an umbrella. You can see he has like a very thin mustache and a little Van Dyke beard. You can see he's got hair pulled back into a ponytail under just sort of a flat cap.
If I may, we were on our way to the Clockwork Beetle when we happened upon this poor soul who is no more. And then we were set upon by the dead Warforged there. We barely escaped with our lives.
He sort of looks at the body and he sees you holding the axe and he does the same thing sort of that Genesis did and compares. He goes,
Oh no! He took the axe from the Warforged.
I'm gonna pull out a piece of parchment paper and draw the symbol. But do you understand what this symbol is?
Which
See if I
one?
can distract them. The pound symbol. The
"Oh,
opposite British pound
he looks at it and he goes, "Oh, well, yes, of course. That's the symbol of the Carnathi army."
That's where I knew that symbol from. Yes, why would the Korranberg army want him dead? I'm just gonna kind of like disregard him for a moment. And talk
I'm gonna
about
pull
how
out the
weird this
ID.
is when-
Where can I find this? Whatever school is the university that he's at?
Moorgrave?
Moorgrave.
he looks, he goes, "Moorgrave is in Sharn."
Okay, but we're at in Sharn.
Hell if I know.
But
I stay in
I
Zilargo.
don't
Where are
remember
we
right
at?
off the top of my head. but
You're in Zilargo.
I would
Korranberg.
probably quickly tell her
Where?
You're in Korranberg,
Korranberg.
where the greatest library in Korranberg is.
That's right.
Hence the reason it's called the City of Knowledge.
Yeah, I don't remember right off the top of my head. but
Is
I
the
would probably
house
tell her
of
where it is, or
Kenneth
that-
here?
Huh?
Is the house of Kenneth here, or how does that work?
So yeah, you would know that the houses have representation in most large cities.
Okay,
They may have just like a small enclave or a huge mansion.
okay.
I don't know why Carnath would want him dead. Seems like there's a lot going on here that we don't know about.
Well,
But we got about an hour to go meet this person.
Let's
I don't
see.
want any money.
Who talked to him first? Genesis, make a persuasion check.
You still have inspiration.
I don't know if she needs it. What's she roll?
18, 19, 20, 22 total.
He just sort of looks at you and goes, "All right, I believe your story. I'd say keep your nose clean. We don't like crime here in Korranberg or anywhere in Zilargo for that matter."
I washed my hands of the stuff years ago.
We don't either. We will.
I don't like crime either. I'm gonna pull out the seal
Okay.
and just be like, look, you can talk to Lisa, Sarah Lisa.
He looks at it and he says, "So, you're doing work for the scribes. Is that supposed to..."
No, you can just
Affect
talk
me?
to her. What you do with that information is up to you.
Yes, no. We could talk to her. We could do that for you.
He says, "Look, I believe your story. I don't think you murdered that man. Just don't run afoul of the trust. It would be not good for you. Keep your noses clean while you're in our country."
I intend to.
Okay, but getting back to it,
And he just sort of looks at you and he pulls out a similar looking little wax seal and he hands it to you. He goes, "If you come across any further dead bodies, reach out to the trust. don't take care of it yourself.
Is it before or after we kill the people attacking us?
Again, he set upon us shortly after we discovered the body. We did not have time to seek the authorities.
Well, if you're defending yourselves, then that's fine. But if you run across another person like myself,
We'll give you a call.
be willing to work with us.
Oh, of course.
Just out of curiosity, where would we find you?
So, you may not find me in particular, but it's easy to find a member of the trust if you're looking.
But to be fair, if that's the case, then what were you doing here?
Oh, I was just walking the streets, making sure things were as they should be.
Do I get any kind of weird vibes from this guy?
Give me an insight check.
I'm pretty sure that's just how things operate here.
It's going to be an
18.
18.
Seems like a... He doesn't seem like a dirty cop. He seems like a cop.
Okay.
In a dirty system.
But where do I find them though? Like, you know,
He says, we have watch stations throughout the city. You can just look for the trust symbol. And I'll tell you what that looks like, because I don't know what it looks like. Off the top of my head.
Beautiful.
The T with a smiley face.
Yep.
So what was the paper that he gave me? It was like to get in touch with them.
It's just about like a business card.
Oh, okay. I put
It says that his name is Sergeant Findry Forenden.
These nerds taking notes.
I need
I was taking notes till my computer went off.
Well,
Well, you
taking
say
notes.
that.
And so he just twirls his umbrella and says, "All right, well, the Beetle's about 4 blocks that way."
It's just not the same.
Will somebody clean this up?
Just, I'll have somebody get on it.
We should make our way to the Beetle.
Did you take any of the professor's things?
I take
Yes.
the journal and the quills and the
Yeah. I'm gonna take the ID card just so I
Okay.
can have it and know who he is.
Okay.
Can I just, like, if nobody else takes the satchel itself, I'll take that.
Okay, yeah, you can take the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, I just like.
You just want to take his clothes too?
Just leave him out here naked.
It's just like Skyrim or Fallout.
Yeah, right.
Take all the valuable
Start
stuff.
stripping off his boots.
Yep.
Like.
Come across the body, take all. Come across the body, take all.
I just hope he's not naked underneath.
All right, so
He's got clothes underneath
It's
his robe.
Franklin. He's making it.
I thought that.
do you want to... What do you want to do? You have some options.
Where's this other place we have to meet?
The Broken Anvil Tap Room?
So each bell is an hour?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
All right, what bell we're on? Because we never got to
9.
that. Okay.
Yeah, he said.
Well, then I'm gonna head towards the tavern because I want to know what's going on.
Okay.
And why?
You're not sure where the Broken Anvil
Yeah,
Tap Room
I'm
is?
gonna.
Once we get kind of out of earshot of the detective or the guy, I'm gonna kind of say, does it seem to any of you as though there might be a great deal of money involved here? Because I would very much like some money.
Would be willing to check out this conversation.
I'm not sure about money, but there's something going on. I say we head to the Beetle first and then figure out where this tap room's at.
We don't want to dally too much. We should definitely go and get our rooms and make our way what we're going to do.
Did it seem unusual that he was here too, coincidentally at the same time?
He must have seen the struggle, or at least heard it.
I mean, my puppet fell down like Sir Gilliam's. He took a beating.
Yeah, and he's solid wood. Of course, he made a loud noise when he hit the ground.
I mean, it's not like you're very quiet either.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You kind of screamed a little bit back there.
Start having flashbacks of me just
We were all headed to Sharn before this, right?
Yes.
What was our business in Sharn? Or your business in Sharn?
My business is Shard.
Yes.
I was going to enroll in a magic school.
And you?
I have a business meeting I must attend. I'm going to be dreadfully late now, but I still must attend it.
So, if we go to this meeting, should we pretend to be this person? Or go for him in his place?
That bauble that you have, can it make you into anyone?
well,
That's a good idea.
it's possible, but we've strayed fairly far. I'd imagine we're walking, right?
Can I be level
Wait,
6?
did they hide his body already?
Go back and look.
We can take the body and
I mean,
hide it.
we're not like within distance where we can turn
Would I
around and see
study
them
his
gone,
face
right?
enough to at least know what he looked like and stuff?
I mean, you saw him. He was pretty beat up.
But would I get a good idea between his ID and his face of what he looked
Sure.
like?
So, Gendrix has a plan, and he's going to share it with you all now, but I'm just going to tell it to you. So, I think that it could be beneficial for me to take your bauble
Mm-hmm.
and try to sneakily, stealthily go over there and like scan that dude, and then either give it to you or I use it and we go to the anvil.
Don't think it works that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know that. I mean, technically anybody could do the scanning, but
Right.
only you can use its output.
It's tied to me, and judge that dude was a small wizard, right?
He's human. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not exactly that I turn into them. I only look like them, and I'm a fair size larger than that man was. So anyone that gets close might figure it out easier than others.
Is there anybody around?
It's possible, but
I shall start
Not
working
yet.
on a familiar mechanism for myself that I'll have when I get to level 6.
Perhaps we pick sort of a student to represent him.
I do have another idea for a gadget that I'd like your opinion on.
Okay.
We could work on that together.
So, are we going back to the body? Are we proceeding? What are we doing?
I think we should hide the body.
I don't think that will work out in our favor, considering the police already know about it.
Then perhaps in his untimely death, he had a friend that would make this meeting. One of us could be that friend.
As I take a look around, who looks the most scholarly?
Probably her.
I'm gonna look at you like Shrek looks at people.
When you turn back to look, you can see there are several people that are now moving the body.
Well, there goes that plan.
And they put it on a litter and load it into like a little wagon. And do the same thing with the Warforged.
I could be that student.
I think you could pass. You seem mage-like enough.
I do have some skills.
All right then. So should we head for the anvil or head for the beetle?
I think we need to go to the Beetle first because we have no idea where the anvil is at.
This is a very good idea. This is a very true statement.
Okay, so you start following the street towards the Clockwork Beetle, and you see in
Kinda
the
going at a
distance.
faster pace because I don't know where the hell anything
Sure,
is.
yeah, yeah. You see off several blocks down, you can see there's this, like, for lack of a better word, animatronic beetle, like the sign, and you can see there's little clockwork gears inside. As you get within about a block of it, you see on the other side of the street the Broken Anvil tap room. Like they're like 2 blocks apart.
Okay.
Oh,
There you
isn't
go.
that a bit of serendipity?
I'm gonna like open his journal and
Okay.
kind of flip through the notes a little bit.
It's
So, like,
empty.
it's completely empty. I don't have like a detect magic or anything. Is his name written on it? Okay.
All it is that seal on the front and the letter that he had stuck in it.
Are we already in the tavern and have we already requested a room?
No,
No,
once we get in
you're
there,
walking
I'll-
towards you're basically out
Okay.
front of the Broken Anvil on your right, and you can see a couple of blocks down is the Clockwork Beetle.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll go to the Clockwork Beetle.
Okay.
Seems we have some time. We can rest at the Beetle for a minute. Come up with a proper plan.
Take a short rest, you said? Okay, so what kind of presence is in the beetle? Like,
When you come into the Clockwork Beetle, you can see that there are the lower floor. When you walk in the front door, looks like a regular common room. There's a nice fire. All of the tables are in nice ordered arrangement. There are mostly gnomes in here. You can see there are 2 staircases that go up on either side of the bar. And when you look up there, it looks almost like a miniature library. There's lots of little cubicles and alcoves, lots of books on shelves. You can see there are gnomes up there that are scribbling away. And from what Sarah Lisa de Civis told you, you get the impression that, a lot of gnomes come here to do their work for the notaries and scribes guilds.
Okay.
I'll just walk up to the counter.
Okay. A small gnome is behind, and it's weird because when you come into the counter, it's gnome-sized. So you're like very much leaning over the counter, and he just sort of looks up at you and goes, "Oh, you're a big one. What's your name? I'm Traylon. This is my establishment."
Very fine establishment. I'm
Goes-
Oligar.
Very nice to meet you all. He holds his hand up. You have to reach down to shake
I'll
his
reach
hand.
down and just
Yeah.
pinches.
Yeah, you just wrap his whole arm in your hand. He says, well, are you going to be looking for dinner? Are you going to be looking for rooms?
I
What's it
would
going to
like
be?
a room.
Okay, room?
Yes. I'm just gonna pull out the ceiling.
He just sort of
in his
seals-
face.
Well, if only I'd been born with their name. That'll do you fine here, though. He says, we'll have, well, most of our rooms are for folk our size. He says, I do have a couple of rooms that are for larger folk, though.
That would be great.
Seems that those are the ones we shall have.
He says, all right, rooms it is. He says, let's be fine. He pulls out 2 keys and hands them to you.
Thank you.
Thank you quite very much.
All right. Well, I'm gonna head to the room.
Okay.
I don't
When you
know.
get there, it's nice. There's 2 big feather beds, chest of drawers, a wash basin.
I just automatically followed her.
Okay.
I'm going to kind of stay back for a second before heading up, and I'm going to ask Traylon. So I'm just curious. I've heard a lot of buzz about your establishment, and I've heard it's a wonderful place, but I noticed another one down the street with an interesting name. Can you tell me anything about the anvil?
Oh, of course. Well, I'm glad you've heard good things about the Beetle. I try to make sure that all members of House Civis are welcome here, and anyone else that is of upstanding moral character.
Yes.
We try to cater to the best. We try to make sure that everything here is good. The Anvil, they're a fine establishment. They don't have rooms. It's just a wine and ale place, from what I understand. People go there to socialize and have drinks. We do a bit of that here, but also a good bit of work happens.
I see. Well, I noticed some people up there studying quite frivolently, so I wouldn't want to disturb them with a revelry if we decide to go and have a drink.
They're probably not studying. They're probably, filling out ledgers and things of that nature. We don't, us gnomes don't like to stay in one place for long. You get bored in the house. You want to come and be around other folk, have easy access to a drink while you're filling out your boring ledgers.
Yes, of course. All right. Well, thank you very much for the information, and I'll head upstairs.
Okay.
In that process, I'm going to try to disguise myself as that wizard dude.
Yeah, you can turn around. You're still wearing your clothes, but you look just like him.
Wow.
You also happen to have a hole in your neck. There's no blood coming out of it, but there's a hole there.
Is there a way, where exactly is it?
Like
is it
right there.
right here? I'm gonna try to fix some clothing. She's the only one that sees it right now, though.
Yeah.
You'll see in the old Truth commercials right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Like the
gonna-
way that your vest and shirt are cut, there's no real way for you to cover it up.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull out my entertainer's pack and
Okay.
I'll look for
Yeah, you probably like a scarf or something.
Yeah.
Sure.
like a robe or something if I have
Mm-hmm.
to cover it up. How does it look?
I sort of fidget a little, and I'm like,
So you see this middle-aged college professor wearing peasant farm girl clothes.
you need to change the rest of it though.
Okay, so I don't know if I have necessarily. I'm gonna pull out all the contents of my.
Okay, roll me some percentile dice. Let's see what kind of extra clothes you have in your bag.
Meanwhile,
I'm gonna be
52.
trying
52.
to help her,
Yeah, you have something that looks like a wizard's. It doesn't look like his by
Okay.
any stretch of the imagination, but it does look like a robe
Okay.
that you could put on.
Well, then we'll put the robe on. Does this look a little bit better?
Yes, I think that will work.
Yeah, you have no idea you still sound like you because you've never heard him talk, so you have
Yeah.
no idea what he sounds like. But you could make your voice sound like a man if you want to.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna make it sound like a man.
I'm a
Okay.
rootin' tootin' wizard shooting.
Sure.
Maybe a little bit deeper.
Like this.
That's good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
So I guess I'm gonna walk up to them, or I'm gonna oh, well, no, I'm not gonna walk up to them just yet. Do you think we
I'm in
should
the wash
go
basin,
meet
I'm
up with
cleaning
all
myself.
of them, or
You should test it out. Go and sit with him, Ollie.
Is one of them down there? Where are y'all at?
I'm probably hitting the top of the landing at this point.
Yeah, I'm in the room, just cleaning myself in the wash basin or whatever, trying to clean my clothes. I don't like having dirty clothes.
Yeah, as you come to the top of the stairs, you see the dead wizard walk out of the... Looks very much alive.
You look familiar.
Do I?
You have no idea who this is, other than it looks like that wizard.
Say, are you feeling okay?
I feel just fine.
Do you,
As much as Ansley can't sound like a man of his late 30s, early 40s, it sounds just like what you would imagine a human in his late 30s would sound like.
Well,
Quietly as it's
I hope that you have a wonderful evening, sir. And I'm just gonna kind of walk.
There is the
forward.
gash across the face still.
Say, does that hurt?
Can I like come up behind her and I take the scarf and kind of like, can I like move it over her face a little bit?
Yeah, you...
Like
Yeah.
mine. I'm like, oh, hold on. And I like move it around a little bit.
Genesis,
Thanks.
what?
It's the wizard that we found.
I see that, but he was dead. He still should be
I
dead.
look pretty alive.
Okay, so it's quite an impressive feat there. Well, I guess you'll pass. You look as though you've been roughed up, which is, I suppose that's okay.
And you know that you could change the features to not have, you know...
Okay, well I'm gonna change the gash. And
Yeah, it's like it doesn't look exactly natural, but you can make it work.
All right. Well, I guess I'll get Oligar and we
I'm
can.
gonna go get a drink.
When she drinks, does the wine come out or whatever? Is it
No, because it's just surface that it's on a...
Okay,
Yeah, there's not an actual hole there.
I'm
It just
gonna
looks
go
like
get
it.
a drink.
It looks like a really good stage makeup.
There's Doma leak. Okay.
I'm just gonna be following her. You should walk a little bit more manly.
When I go in.
No, she like that's the thing is it's perfect. She doesn't walk like a woman. Like
Oh.
she has literally turned into a man.
So she scratches her ass while she walks.
I mean, you don't know if all the bait and tackle is correct, but it could be.
It could be upside down. You don't know.
Who knows? When I go in the room, I'm gonna say, when you leave and go back downstairs, don't panic. But Riven has made herself into our wizard friend. And
You've seen her casting spells. You figure it's disguise self.
It's strikingly good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, she could have said that earlier when we stood there debating.
Yeah, it is what it is. She is now him. We can now go to the meeting.
Fair enough. How long will that last? Do we have to leave now? I'm still in the middle of washing my clothes.
I will like blast him with prestidigitation and
Okay.
make him like all nice and clean.
You
Like,
become
all right, let's
magically
go.
shiny and squeaky
So
clean.
shiny.
I know you are not a big fan of magic, but we are on short time here.
Not a fan of it.
You just don't seem to like it very much.
I just don't understand it.
Well, that's understandable.
That's what happens when you can't cast it.
This is also true. Shall
But I
we
do
get going?
like this. This saves a lot of time.
Oh, I'll do it anytime you need. I do it to myself quite often.
And I'll walk out.
So you all make your way down to the common room. You see Genesis and the wizard. You're feeling a little hungry.
I'm just gonna.
Like you know that you don't have to do that.
I'm just screwing with you guys.
Like
It's probably like way more subtle. Like she just sort of does it and then like looks across.
a couple people look at you when you do that, and they're like, "The fuck was that?"
Straight up Shaquille O'Neal's hot sauce face.
Yeah. But there's like probably 20 or 30 people. You could like tap everybody for a little bit, and everybody just sort of like, you see the whole demeanor of the room just sort of drops for a few minutes.
What is going on?
I'm gonna come down there and see you. Nice. And I'm gonna smack you on the back real fucking hard.
So the strange thing,
Ow.
you know that when you do your disguise self, and like, if someone touches you, they can feel through it, and they still feel this feel. Your hand doesn't like disappear into any kind of an illusion or anything.
That's weird. I'm gonna start like squeezing
I'm gonna kind of do like a little shame
like-
and be like, don't touch me.
How does? How do you get yours to work like that?
Took many years, a lot of practice. That's why I'm going to magic school.
All right then. It seems like they serve some bad shellfish in here, so let's go down to the tap house.
What do you
Indeed.
mean?
No offense, whatever your name was behind the counter.
Traylon just kind of looks at you and goes, "Oh, none taken, none taken. We hope to see you back a bit. You've got the rooms, of course, for the evening."
Certainly, we'll be back shortly.
Very well, very well.
Probably eat dinner over
Like,
there.
how many people overall are, like, in the tavern?
Like 20 or 30.
20 or 30? Yeah. I probably get, like, 15.
Okay. Yeah, like literally the whole demeanor of the room just sort of drops a bit as everyone's like sort of And they all kind of feel funny.
And I'm just like,
It's like someone farted and left.
I say to Traylon, is there something going around, or
Oh, I don't believe so. I hope not.
I hope not as well.
They do a really good job of keeping the city nice and clean.
A touch of the plague would be bad for my business.
Well, all this rain, maybe just everyone's just, feeling a bit under the weather. No pun in, all the pun intended.
That's a good one. I appreciate a good pun, Traylon.
Says, all right, well, we'll see you when you get back.
Right, guess we'll head out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you make your way back down a couple of blocks, and you see the when you come across the facade of the Broken Anvil, it's just a singular wooden door. Above the sign above is literally just an anvil that the hammer has knocked it in half. And the windows appear to be fairly dark. They don't appear to be blacked out. It just appears like there's not much light inside.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk in.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you walk in.
I'll go in
right
behind
behind
her.
him.
Okay.
Yeah, come in and strategically stay within, where I can easily see and
Okay.
hear.
So as you walk in, the last of you get in, the door closes behind you. Everyone give me a perception check.
Nice, a good one. 19.
22.
Both yours doesn't matter. Because no one is sticking a knife in your ribs. You both notice the person as they grab you from behind with the knife. You don't notice. You're like, what the? And in your ear, Oligar, the man says, "What'd you follow him in for?"
To get a drink.
Pub's closed.
I didn't see a sign.
They're with me.
They kind of look at you and they say, they kind of look you up and down. All right, follow us. And they lead you into the back of the room. And there is a, when you get to the back of the room, there's like one of those like half round booths. And there is wrong one. A human female in a dark blue cloak that has delicate features, dark blue eyes, and sleek black hair bound with silver and turquoise ornaments. She wears a signet ring of House Cannith on her right ring finger and speaks in a soft but clear voice. "Thank you for coming. Please sit. Let them go."
Yes, please, let me go.
And the guards let you go.
Thank you.
She says, "Professor, please sit. We have much to discuss."
I'm gonna sit.
I'll sit next to her.
Okay.
Him.
She says, "Professor, who are these? I thought you were coming alone. Who are these companions?"
We ran into some bit of a trouble.
I see. What kind of trouble?
If you don't mind my intrusion, it seems someone did not want for the professor to attend the meeting.
That's
A Warforged.
and you protected
Well,
our
yes,
friend?
Of course we did. It's only right to protect a person in need and in trouble.
My thanks.
So we just wanted to ensure that the professor got here safely, and now we'll continue watching over the professor until we can get the professor safely home.
Oh, of course. Thank you. That's going to be a deception check on your part.
Luckily, I'm quite good in deception. Because that roll sucks. No, it doesn't. It's actually a 9, so that's going to be a 15 total.
Okay. She says, well, thank you for. I have been working with Professor Daruk for a few months. He's been looking here in the city for this artifact, I believe, and he sent me a missive a few weeks ago, and bade me meet him. I let him know that I would be in the city this evening, and you've come. Have you found the journal that you spoke of?
Yes. I'm his teaching assistant, and I hold his stuff for him.
She's not very good.
I sort of like.
Okay.
It's just. I'll hand you the journal.
Thank you.
She, may I see it?
Here
I've
you
heard
go.
of.
Did you get this woman's name?
She introduced herself. I am Eladrin Devoth. I am a cousin of House Kenneth. I am not of the blood, unfortunately.
Spelled the same way, D apostrophe.
D apostrophe V-O-T-H.
Okay.
She says, I've heard of these artifacts, if it's true. And she takes the signet ring and she holds the journal and she presses the signet ring into the ancient House Kenneth symbol. And you see all of the mithril begins to glow, and it runs all through all these veins of mithril that are worked into the leather of the journal. And she opens it, and as she opens it, she says, "Oh my, it's true." And she flips through the journal pages, and as she's kind of flipping, you can see there's now writing on the pages of the journal.
What does it say?
She says, "It's exactly what you thought it was, Professor. It's a map of where and instructions, and it's here. They thought it was in Sharn. It's here in Korranberg.
What is the it, madam?
It's a piece of a schema that Lady Jorlana has been looking for. An ancient schema. We don't exactly know what it does, but we believe it would be something that would potentially free Sire of the Morning and make the land habitable again. We're not positive, but there are several pieces of it, and this is the first that we've been able to find good intel on."
Well, if it's something that powerful, it certainly must be worth quite a bit of gold.
Well, I
Don't
mean,
mind him.
I'm not looking to sell the schema, but if you were willing to assist the professor in recovering it, House Kenneth would be more than willing to pay you a considerable sum.
Would you say it would be a handsome sum?
Once again, please do not mind him. Can I see the paper, please?
Oh yeah, she'll hand you the journal back. She says, I mean,
Can I read through the journal now?
yeah.
Like, I'm gonna start reading just to see what
Yeah,
I can
there's
gather.
a lot of it. What languages do you speak?
Celestial and Elvish and Common.
Okay, it is in none of those languages. The main body of the text, but there are several maps that are annotated, and as you look through, you see that it's maps of Korranberg, a map that shows you how to get into a certain portion of the sewers, a map that shows a door that is guarded, that is marked with it says the door to tomorrow is marked on
I'm
the.
gonna turn to my teaching assistant. Assistant, why don't you read this and tell me what you see?
I'll take it from her. Does it have goblin or orc in it?
Well, orc doesn't exist, so it does not have goblin.
That's a language on there.
No,
Well, we better go goblin.
it does not have goblin.
Okay.
We'll work on it.
I'm
She
afraid I
says,
don't recognize your last name. Where are you from?
well, I am. I live in Sharn.
Good city.
Yes, quite excellent. But I am originally from. Well, I guess I'm from Sharn, but I work for.
As am I.
Baron Jorlana de Kenneth. I assume you're familiar with the schism in House Kenneth ever since Sire was destroyed in the morning.
I would be right.
Yeah, probably all. Yeah, you would be for sure. Yeah, definitely you. You two would be just because you're house folk, and you would know.
I sort of just shake my head, yes, sir.
But she says, yes, Baron Jorlana, she wishes to find these artifacts to keep them away from Baron Merrick's de Kenneth. He oversees the house activities in the southern portion of the country, which is why I don't have any of my house agents here. Baron Jorlana is in the north.
Oh, what was that symbol again?
Which part is
The
Karnath then?
candid symbol.
Karnath would be in the north, but Karnath is in the east also. So it's overseen by the other Baron that is
The
in
third one.
Yeah,
So-
the third one. Yeah.
Let me get this straight. We were attacked by a Warforge that had the House of Kenneth on it.
No, it had the mark of the Karnathi army on it.
Karnathi.
Yeah.
That's
So
where I went.
the army from Karnath.
Karnathi.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna tell her. Well, it appears that the Warforge that attacked us over on our way here had the symbol of a Karnathi.
Oh well. I don't know if there is anything to do with that. I mean, that may be important, but many of the Warforged have left their national allegiances since the war ended.
Well, regardless, someone doesn't want us to find this.
Well, there may be somebody else that's. I mean, it's very possible that Merrick's. He was one of the original designers of some of the later models of Warforged at the end of the war. It's very possible that he could want. That he knew what we had found, and that he was trying to get the journal for himself.
Very well.
So this journal can help us decipher to find the artifact?
She says, well, most of what is written here is probably information lost to the ages. I will obviously have someone from my house decipher what we can, but I believe the maps are more than enough to lead you to the artifact.
Well, I think we should start promptly because clearly someone doesn't want us to be here.
I see. Yes, of course. She says, will you, if none of you can read the journal, why don't you take a moment and sketch out these maps? I can begin deciphering this journal with some of our code breaking.
Would the person who helped find the artifact be allowed to study it?
Potentially. What do you know of ancient schema in their construction?
What do I know?
You can make me an Arcana check.
Probably not a lot. I got 11.
You know that ancient schema exists. You know that they're usually made up of multiple parts, and that a lot of the ancient ones during the war, nations would steal them from other nations and destroy them so that they wouldn't be able to make their war machines anymore. You're more familiar with like modern schema, like schema that allow you to make like capes of billowing and bags of holding and things like that.
I'm more familiar with modern, but I mean, I like to learn.
I mean, I would have to speak
She
with.
is rather useful. In some
Well, of course, but
cases.
I would have to speak with, the members of my house.
Perhaps we better find it first.
This is also very true.
Going back to the journal, I personally feel as though perhaps it would be safer in our hands. Somebody's looking for this journal and looking for the professor, but perhaps we can keep it safe with us.
Well, to be fair, my guards got the better of you when you came in. I believe it will be safe with me, and as I said, I can begin working on the information that's in here.
Sizing up her guards, they look like super tough dudes.
Give me an insight check.
Inside. That's a whopping 11.
Yeah.
There's some big dudes.
Yeah, I mean they're like big, but they don't look stupid. Like in fact, like you can see like they're hiding in the shadows of this building. You get the impression that like she rented out the entire establishment for the evening, which is why there's nobody here.
Nice.
But she says, if you would be willing to assist the professor in finding this artifact, House Kenneth would be willing to pay you 400 gold.
Does that sound like a plan?
I believe so.
I could do with 100 extra gold in my purse.
After all, you've been very helpful.
Indeed. Most good.
Of course.
would I know, like, I don't know her, but have I heard her name, like, through my contacts?
Give me a history check. It's possible.
23.
23. You've never heard of Eladrin de Voth, but you have heard of the Voth cousins. Basically, they are offshoot of the house that it's every now and then, like it's super rare, but every now and then a Voth will get a mark of making, and then they will bring them in, basically take them away from their Voth family and make them a Cannith, like change their name and everything. But it's super rare. But there are lots of Voths, and they tend to be quite good at a lot of the stuff that House Cannith does. They're especially good smiths. So in a Cannith foundry, it's very normal to see Voths because there is still blood between them. They are related, but they don't manifest the mark very often. Like maybe one every 7 or 8 generations.
Do I, like, this is probably a weird question, but would I even know, like, if I have a contact in this town?
In this town, you've never been to Zalargo before.
Okay.
Until now. She says, well, very well. If you need anything else from me, I will be staying here for a few days. Hopefully it won't take you that long to find the portion of this schema. I believe, and she flips through the journal, and she says, it will appear to be a 7-pointed star with 8 studs in the middle of it.
I'll probably, like, kind of take the journal from her just to, like, sketch out some of the maps.
Yeah, you can. It doesn't take you long because they're fairly rudimentary. They just tell you, like, you know, when you see this symbol in the sewer, take this turn.
Okay.
She says, very well. I'm going to retire and begin deciphering what is in here. Do you intend to set out this evening, or will you set out in the morning?
Preferably in the morning.
Very well. I mean, now that we securely have the journal, then I don't think anyone will be able to beat you there. So, my men will keep me safe this evening. You all stay safe as well.
But of course, Professor, should we take our leave?
We shall.
And where can we find you if we need you?
Just, I'll be here. If I'm not here, there is a Cannith enclave just north of the city. If I'm not here, I will be there.
Very well.
Are her guards, like, super close?
They're like in the shadows of the room. Like she has like a lantern on the table providing light to the area, and like they're at the very edges of that
Okay.
light. And she stands up from the table and says, if I do not see you before you head out, good luck. And she heads up the stairs.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'll kind of start making my way towards the door.
Yep.
Yeah, I get up and start walking.
I'll walk behind the professor.
Okay. So, where do you make your way back to the Clockwork Beetle?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, easy enough. You make your way back. As you walk in, you can see that things haven't gotten rowdy, but several of the gnomes there's drinking songs, and it's gone from being a place of business at this point to a slight party.
Oh, nice.
I'm going immediately up to my room.
Okay.
And then I'm changing back into my normal self.
Okay. Do you take the robe off?
Yeah.
Okay.
I probably try to feed off of, like, 5 more people.
Okay.
I pick ones that are, like, off by themselves.
Okay. And you can see there are people that are a little bit tipsy and things like that, so they probably won't even notice.
And then I'm going to come back downstairs, and then I'm going to request some vegetables, because I'm hungry.
Okay, let's see what they have on the menu. So Traylon will he grabs a board. And he says, "All right, here's what we have for the evening." And he lays it down. He says, "We have the house special. It's called steamed carabug. It's a large beetle that is spiced and steamed in its own shell, served belly up. It's my personal favorite. We have the farmer's fig. It's a small pie made with savory dough, goat cheese, and topped with sweet figs. We have a dish of fish. I don't know. My wife calls it that. I don't like the rhyming, but whatever. It's freshly caught salmon, trout, or cod served with butter and steamed vegetables. This one is my personal, well, the Beetle's my personal favorite. This is my second. It's called the Clean House. It's a bit of a play on words. It's an organ stew, usually made with liver and tongue in a bone broth. It's a recipe my dear Da
don't
taught
tell me
me.
anymore. I couldn't handle it. I'll take the fish.
The fish? Well, one more. You might find this one good.
Yeah, please tell me more.
This is my personal favorite, or my personal dish that I've created for the menu. I call it my Traylin's pasta special. It's noodles mixed in your choice between a cheesy cream sauce, a red meat sauce, or a mushroom cream sauce, if you like. We do have a few sides available this evening. I've got my wife's gnomish pillow pastries. They're filled with either meat or fruits, vegetables, eggs, cheese, or beans.
Is it a surprise?
If you want it to be, sure. We also have some fruit tarts for dessert. You can get a honeyed apple, berry, or plum. We have a leaf salad topped with a sundew melon, nuts, and goat cheese. And we also have my wife's honey cakes with spiced butter.
Do you have any potatoes?
I'm sure I could whip up some potatoes for you, ma'am.
And carrots.
Carrots
Please.
would come on many of the vegetable dishes, yes.
Potatoes and carrots.
You're not gonna try the beetle?
I do not eat insects or animals for that fact. If beetle is considered an animal in your terms.
Well, I mean, a beetle's not really meat. It's got like a mushy, gooey inside. It's really delicious.
I
Matter
would,
of fact, I'll take the beetle,
All right.
but I want the noodles with the red meat sauce
Okay, so a pasta special and a steamed
on
caribou.
top of the beetle.
Well, that would be a bit
With
against the
Some
senses.
of the red tart desserts around the edge of it.
All right, well, it's a good thing you've got that seal from House Civis, because that would be quite an expensive dinner. But all right, I can get you in for that. What about the rest of you?
The salmon.
You'll have the dish of fish with salmon, okay?
Fishy dish.
All right.
Indeed.
And you, young lady, you said vegetables?
yes,
I can pull some of the vegetables from some different areas and get that for you. And what about you, young lady?
I'd like to try some ale.
Ale? Oh, no food? You look a bit,
No,
you look like you could put some meat on those bones there, ma'am.
she's
I'm
just
okay.
sick currently. She's a little seasick. We just got here.
Oh, okay, very well.
Seasick.
All right, ale. That's easy enough. I've got I've either got what is known my brother makes called Mountain Mead. I also have a spiced rum, and we also have tangerine brandy. If you're looking for something a bit stronger.
What would you get?
The ale doesn't come with the meal.
Oh well, we can certainly get you a glass of ale with your meal. Yes,
Besides that,
I want some tangerine.
some tangerine brandy.
tangerine brandy does sound fine. I would like some as well.
Very well.
I
And
will
you?
take some water.
Water, okay. And so they'll
Just got off the water. I don't know why you would want any more.
and they will. It takes them about 20 or 30 minutes to kind of get everything put together. But eventually, they'll bring it out to your table.
During that time, I want to go up to the room for a minute. But,
Okay.
I just one thing I'm gonna do while I'm up there. I'm just gonna kind of just say a quick little I don't know, something to the traveler. Just kind of make a little religious kind of note to him and be like,
Okay. What do you say?
change has definitely come, and we'll continue to make change or something along those lines.
Okay.
And also, I would like to take a moment to open that scroll case that we received while we were on the island
Okay.
and see if there's even a scroll in it.
I believe there is. The scroll case. Yes, it has 2 scrolls in it actually.
Oh my.
It has a scroll of Mage Hand and a scroll of Identify.
Oh, nice. Okay, and that's what I wanted to do, and I'll go back downstairs.
Okay. Yeah, as you come down, you see Traylon and a gnome woman bringing out everything and setting everything down.
I'm gonna sit like right beside Genesis, and I'm gonna lean over. So, do you eat?
I don't think I need to.
So then, how do you live?
I don't know that you want to know that.
Well, surely I would, because if you die, how do we bring you back? If you were to die, so to speak.
In the middle of this, I'm gonna scoop out some beetle, and I'm gonna just Try some Beetle.
Have I ever?
I don't
do
think
I know
that's
if
a
I've
good
ever
idea.
tried? Well, I've tried food, right?
Oh, yeah,
So I
yeah,
know
definitely.
What happens to me when I eat food?
But does it
Just
still
it
have,
just tastes
her
like
mask
it just tastes like ash.
on her
So it
face?
doesn't like it filters through and everything. It just,
Yeah, I mean like you still have like innards. They're
Yeah.
just undead
Still do the
innards.
poops.
still do poops. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
you don't really do poops and peeps.
It's sort of like
She didn't have to roll the poop.
just absorb it.
So
It's
do you
got
still
some
have
red
your mask
sauce on
on? Like, okay, when do you take your mask on and off? Because that's like, do you still have it on and stuff, or?
I haven't taken it off yet. I only showed you like for a few
Okay.
seconds, then put it back on.
Okay, so you haven't showed. Okay.
Yeah, you haven't seen like my eyes or anything.
I don't think that's a good idea. You should eat more of that for yourself after your
I
harvest.
plan on eating a lot of it.
I'm not
Are
hungry.
you sure you don't want any?
I'm good.
To each their
You
own.
can give me a religion check.
So if I drink the ale, it's the same thing. I don't taste it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a whopping 6.
Okay, yeah, you don't know anything.
Yep.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
I'm just like smelling my ale.
It smells really good.
But
It
then
smells good.
how do you eat? What do you live off of?
Things. I just sort of exist.
I just exist.
I'm not really sure I can die.
Me either.
I haven't died yet. Like
Alright.
you, I suppose.
Everyone's immortal
I
until
did
they
die
die.
once.
Seems you didn't fully come back.
Not all of me.
Have you ever been to Karnath?
I would say that I've probably been there once or twice.
Okay, you can give me a religion check.
Religion. It's probably not going to be very good. It's probably like a 10 or an 11. Yes, 11.
Okay, yeah, you're not really sure.
Yeah, I'll just kind of start picking at my salmon, but the beetle on the table is really God.
It smells amazing.
It smells amazing.
Oh yeah. Like
I
it's
do
like
kind of like lean over.
like
and,
it's
smell
spiced
things.
and almost like a like a
You wanna
deviled
try
crab.
some?
It's just a deviled beetle.
It makes me
I,
sick,
I
like
am
the smell
a
of it,
fan
or
of
like
delicacies,
the fact
however,
that
I do
he's
not
eating
see
meat
how
makes
this is
me
one,
sick,
and I'll
or
take
like
my
some
mouth
type of
fork and
animal.
like stab it
Okay.
off of yours, and I'll give it a sniff first and confirm that that's what smells really good, and then I'll like kind of take a little like squibber nibble.
Yeah, no, it's tasty.
Can you
Like I mean, it's like
describe what it
earthy
tastes
and
It's kind of earthy and
it tastes buggy,
it tastes buggy, but it's spiced very well.
Slimy,
but because of like
but
the
satisfying.
cardamom and saffron and everything that they cook it with, it has this very very like warming sort of flavor to it.
And I'll describe all of that to you in those exact words.
It sounds delicious.
Well, it would be if you ate it.
Not really.
Is anybody playing music?
Yeah.
Wait, do you have lips?
Under the you saw them under the scar, but it's like
It's
literally
like-
like,
yeah,
my
it's one of
teeth are like this.
So you're like,
Yeah, like, it's all like very thin and
so do you like smile all the time?
Okay, so the way that I like did my character, her teeth are like really prominent. Like
Okay.
yeah. She doesn't really have like the rictus smile, but like when she was alive,
Like
she
super,
had
like-
she had beaver teeth.
yeah. So in death it's
Beaver
super,
teeth.
super
Yeah, and
prominent.
in death, she got like super chiclet teeth.
So is she like smiling all the time? Like, is her skin that tight, or?
Well, it's like I said, it's not like she has like a death rictus. Like like when you see
Yeah.
a skeleton, they always look like they're smiling, like a skull. It's not like that. She still like can make like facial expressions. Like her face still moves. It's just she has very thin, tight skin. But yeah, she can frown and do all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Okay,
To
I'm
be fair,
just double
Genesis probably smiles a lot because she's just weird. But
I just wanted to know what your face looked like because that's still interesting to me.
What is your face?
All right. Well, so you have recovered the journal of Hugo de Rook, and you have met with Lady Eladrin, and you have decided for the sum of 400 gold pieces to find a schema. And that's where we're in for tonight.
I feel like we could have haggled a little bit more, but I'm not a haggler.
Nah.
The search for the schema. Well, I didn't want
To
to,
be
push
fair,
it with
yeah.
our friend being not who they thought she was.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So yeah. Does anybody have any announcements or anything they want to tell people about?
No,
Watch
go follow
us
us
on
on
Twitch.
Twitter. Because we talk a lot of crap. all
Yeah,
week.
so definitely follow at Ordem Arcana on both Twitter and Instagram. Hit up YouTube and search for Ordem Arcana. Hit that subscribe button so we can get up to 100 followers, so we can actually have youtube.com/Ordem Arcana. They changed that rule. You can't get a custom URL without 100 subscribers.
Can I subscribe twice?
And then, follow us on Twitch and hang out and chat. We're not really watching chat because we're playing D&D.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
if there's more people talking in chat, then we may get somebody to moderate chat and
We do
and
later,
talk.
though.
Thanks to our buddy behind the camera that you cannot see, Weston. He is running things on the stream as far as the overlay and whatnot. So thank you, Weston, for that. And
Thank you, Weston.
Thank you, Weston.
until
Wednesday.
next Thursday, take care of each other, and we'll see you next week here in the Order.